So suicide. Suicide is when somebody kills themselves because they no longer feel like they have any other options, or they feel like that's their only way out, or whatever else. A lot of people will place blame on the person who's killed themselves and say like it's selfish, or it's wrong, or whatever, or like it's weak, or they're escaping something that they shouldn't be escaping, like they need to be responsible and own up to their responsibilities. But at the end of the day, isn't it all of our responsibilities to treat other people with enough compassion and care and try our best to be there for others and humanity, so that way suicide doesn't become a problem? Because if somebody's feeling so alone that their only option is to kill themselves, it's not them who failed, it's us. We failed as a society. We have failed as a people, as a human race, or whatever. We have failed because we let them feel like they had nobody else, like they had no other options, like this was their only choice. And you know what? I don't just blame us as a civilization, I also blame the world in itself. Like, I blame the government system and all of that too, because there's so much to it that just pushes people down. Like, for example, I'm on welfare, and I was on welfare after me and my ex split up, my baby daddy. Me and my son ended up having to find a new home, even, and he was 2 years old, and I was a single mom, and I applied for welfare. So my rent was $1,200, so I ended up getting $1,050 a month. So $1,050. So that couldn't even cover my rent. It's based on your rent. It's based on the amount that you are paying and the amount of people underneath your care, right? So now I'm going to pay my rent with this $1,050 and also feed my child and pay the rest of my rent and pay hydro and electricity and like all of that, and cable and food and gas for a vehicle and insurance for a vehicle and a phone, and paying for the phone and paying for my kid to have whatever it is that he desires, because I want to give him what he wants in life. I'd like to give him the best of everything if I can, so of course he's always getting the first of everything. And then the only other top up of money I had would be, one, child support, which was a very minimal amount. If you think that child support is enough to cover your child's needs, then you're crazy. And I realized that I'm 50% parent, so I should cover my child's needs as well. However, my baby daddy was working full time. He had no responsibilities anymore. He moved home with his mom and was just making bank. And we ended up having to go to court to figure out child support. I asked for not even the lowest amount, but lower than the lowest amount possible, because I appreciated him taking care of me and our son for so long, and I appreciated the fact that I was able to be home with our son, and I wanted him to be able to get on his feet too. However, he didn't really want to help me as well. It was more of just like a, haha, you fucking are an idiot and you just got fucked over, but besides the point. And like with that whole system, you're only allowed, like the welfare system, you're only allowed to make $600, like aside from what you get from the government, and any other money you make on top of that will be deducted from the amount you get from the government. So therefore, if I made $600 and that's the top I can make, now I'm looking at what, $1,650, and then child support, which was like, I can't even remember now, I think it was like $100 or some shit, like it was something stupid. And I still have to pay $1,200 rent, pay about $2 something for car insurance, phone bill, food, hydro, all of that, and then expenses aside from that on top of it. Like, what? But if I make more than that, you're going to take it from my money that I'm already receiving as help, and then I'm also on top of that going to have to now try to find a daycare or a babysitter or somewhere to put my child so I can also work those hours. So now I'm also paying for daycare. And I know there's subsidized daycares. I know there is. There's also not a lot of options out there, and there's also not a lot of good stories out there about subsidized daycares. And my son ended up being sick, so I didn't even have the option to look into like getting a parent or like a friend or, you know, someone to watch him and paying them and like sucking it up and trying to somehow make this work, even though I would be paying daycare and getting money taken from my check. And like, it's just, the whole thing is stupid. It's stupid. It's so stupid. And then, yeah, the only other money I got other than that would be child taxes. And because of issues with our separation, mine and my ex's, and like all of that, I stopped getting child taxes for some odd reason. Like it just stopped showing up. Like I called multiple times and fixed it, and they'd start sending it again, and then they'd have the same issue. And like call and fix it, and they'd send it again. Like same issue. They think we're together again. I'm like, dude, like this is fucking stupid. So because he doesn't pay his taxes, and you think we're together again, even though we're not, I don't get my child taxes, and I have to keep calling you guys and going through this process, and also paying for the phone bill to make those phone calls. But just remind me how, you know, the government's trying to help us, and like, yeah, okay, sure. But this is what I mean. Like, this fucking world is fucked up. There's so much shit like that like this is just one thing that I can shed some light on because I'm currently dealing with that stuff. And like there's lots of other unjust systems out there, so many, and that also pushes people towards suicide. And like maybe if our world was a little kinder and a little bit more fair and a little bit more, like, I don't know, safe, like, fuck, maybe people wouldn't want to kill themselves, but people do because our world is fucking shit, and it's really hard some days to find the good things to live for. And just because somebody wasn't able to find any more good things to live for and they decide to take their life doesn't mean that they're weak or selfish or anything like that. It just means that they were tired and they tried really hard and they're sorry. Trust me, they're sorry. Now, to talk about suicide a little bit more in depth, I'm going to share some stories from my past. The first time I tried to commit suicide.